Hi, my name's Shannon Barlow and I'm going to be speaking to you about a Rolling Stones magazine with Adele on the double page spread. I hope you enjoy. Obviously, the main audience for this magazine will be Adele fans due to the fact that she's stated in a massive main image and in an article title. Also, you could say that it would attract R&B and pop music due to the fact Adele was in this type of genre. So, fans of music generally, or fans of that specific genre of music, can also be attracted to this. However, Adele may be young, she's around 24 years of age, however her voice is very old-fashioned, you can say. Unlike people like One Direction and Beyonce and Rihanna, and even Cher, Lloyd or Bruno Mars, she doesn't have that young connection with us. She doesn't sing fast, does some rap, have really catchy upbeat music, but more slow, classical and graceful music. So you could say that actually attracts the older generation as well, due to the fact of her voice. So this will also attract those that are in maybe later adulthood, middle adulthood, and maybe certain audience members in younger adulthood if they're just fans of her. Because she also is a woman that is very pretty for her size and her age, so at the end of the day it will attract those that look up to her and want to be like her and find her a bit of an inspiration. However, you could say it also attracts adolescents and younger adulthood due to the variety of text. Now, if I personally, as a teenager, saw a text that was covering whole 2 pages, had lots of information, loads of complex sentences, I wouldn't be attracted to it because it's too much to read. I couldn't really take it in. I don't really find that very attractive and advertising. But the fact that they have only selected the information in a paragraph, and the main advertisement on this page is the main image, really kind of attracts us as a younger generation, because it shows that we don't have that much to read, and it kind of takes into consideration that as a younger age we are lazy when it comes to reading. So making sure that only a small variety of text is made in this magazine double page spread really attracts us as a younger generation. So you'll mostly find that the fans and the audience members will be fans of Adele, probably older adults, and maybe even us younger generation that are just flicking through the magazines because of the lack of variety of text. Now, the main image is the main advertisement in this double page spread. It's structured across a whole page and mostly across the next section, and is presented in black and white, which you could say is contrast and is very iconic to Adele herself. The black and white kind of complements skin texture and really enhances eyes. Also, it's quite modern and very formal, which is what her music is like. Like I've said before, her music's quite classical, it's very soft and gentle, which is what this background is actually complementing, as black and white kind of comes across as gracious and really modern, and so you could actually contrast the two, so the background, the colour of the main image and the music genre she's in. Also, that I've mentioned the skin texture, so it makes it look very young, it makes it look very beautiful, which also is contrasting with the audience member that look up to her as an inspiration, because obviously she's young and the black and white really makes her look beautiful. However, I do have a query with this main image. Now, they have normalities of a main image on a double page spread. You see the celebrity looking directly forward at you, so it attracts you and intrigues you more and makes it personal and makes you interested because you feel that celebrity is actually looking at you. However, in this main image, Adele is looking to the side, so this side for instance, and you feel for some odd reason that you're not interacted. I personally feel that I'm not interacting with the celebrity. There is no contrast between us. It doesn't make me feel attracted to it. It doesn't make me feel like it's personally towards me as an audience member, because she's looking away. Now, if you research Rolling Stones magazines such as Rihanna or Beyonce or Bruno Mars, you will always find that the main stars are looking directly at you because intrigues you more and it attracts you. It's the main attraction of the page because, like I've said before, it gets you involved. It makes you feel like they're directly looking at you and they want you to read it. However, because she's looking to the side, I feel like you lose this effect. You don't feel that atmosphere and a sense of, not friendliness, but a sense of feeling that she's wanting you to read it. You just feel a bit left out, and I feel a bit distant from this page. So you could actually find that the main image is a massive negative for this double page spread. However, it's a very good close-up. It's up to her shoulders, so once again, maybe if she looked forward it would distract the audience from the text, and you don't want a massive distraction because there isn't a lot of text in that variety. So at the end of the day, you could say that maybe by making her look at the camera will distract the audience members from the text and from the main art and from the main article itself, because as I said at the beginning, the main image is the main advertisement. Also, in certain magazines, this is actually a normality, because you will find that a picture can actually take up a whole page, which is what this is doing. You just normally find that there's more variety of text. That's okay. It's actually a normal aspect for a double page spread to have a main image covering a whole page layout. However, you could say Adele is kind of giving a section a provocative approach towards certain audience members due to the fact she has her mouth open. Now, when Rihanna has her mouth open in a magazine, this comes across as quite a provocative and sexual approach towards certain audience members because she's showing attitude, and for some odd reason, especially boys love it when a celebrity shows attitude. So you could say the fact that she has her mouth slightly open, giving a bit of a serious look, and the fact she's trying to ignore the audience member, you could say is giving a sense of importance to her, because she's giving attitude to the audience and she's not noticing you and playing a bit hard to get, you could say. So at the end of the day, the fact that she has posed with her mouth open looking away kind of gives a diva-ish and maybe even towards some a very sexual and attitude so overall, that approach towards her pose can also attract certain audience member. And finally, you see that the image has been pushed back. As you can tell that some of her hair is going behind the title. They have made that link between the title, so you are attracted to the title as well as the main image. It kind of gives that sense of leading you to the title, and it kind of shows that the title is more important than the main image, even though it's not really shown that way. So the fact that the main image has been pushed back shows that that's the background, and also shows that as well as that being the main attraction, they also want the title, the article title, to be the main attraction as well, which is why they've kind of linked it together by making a contrast between the pieces of hair and the main image itself. And they've also kept the colour coordination, so the whole aspect is presented in grey background and black and a bit of white probably in the background as well. So the black and white theme really contrast with the whole house style of the double page spread. Okay, so the text is representing one paragraph. However, the information is very small, compact, and they have used a serif font. So it's quite an informal font. It's not very posh and nicely presented, and it's quite informal. However, the text kind of complements the main image due to the fact it's so small compared to the article title and the image. It doesn't distract anyone, it doesn't catch your eye, it allows the audience to look at the main image, look at the title, be attracted to them aspects, and then read the text. So the way they have structured it next to the image kind of shows that there's a contrast between the two. They have structured it below the title, showing that that's the title, and they've just structured a little paragraph to the side, so it's not in the middle covering the picture, so it doesn't distract anyone. However, you also find that some of the text is presented in capital letters. For example, the branding name Rolling Stones. This is because it's trying to enhance more information and trying to attract more attention. And the fact that they have presented the branding as in capital letters not only enhances the effect of it and the meaning, but really shows that they're trying to represent their magazine in a positive way, because this is a Rolling Stone magazine and they've put Rolling Stones in the article about having an interview with Adele, and they've presented the Rolling Stone letters in capital letters to really just come across as the audience that they have interviewed Adele themselves. This is true facts. This isn't just rumours made up. They are providing the evidence, they are providing the detail and the information to the audience, so it allows the audience to trust the Rolling Stone magazine and this review a bit more, because due to the fact that it's more enhanced towards you. Also, to back up the fact that they have made the audience a bit more younger generation, to add to that impact that they're trying to attract a bit more younger audience because they are the main readers of music magazine. She has actually stated, "I've heard you're going out with blah 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 and I don't even know these people." Now, I know she has spoken that and she doesn't want to reveal any name, but the blah 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 is very informal. It's what a younger generation such as myself would say if we can't be bothered to state a name. It's slang in a sense, and it just adds this effect that they're trying to attract the younger audience due to the selected lexis they have used. This lexis really represents how informal the whole text can be, and they've they've also, again, to attract the younger audience, have used language such as pissed off. Now, swearing, you could say, is very adolescents. Adolescents use swear words quite a lot because we're quite new. We're not new to the words, but we use this kind of language, especially in sociolect, because it's what our peers do. So at the end of the day, them putting that selected language, pissed off and blah blah blah, shows that they're trying to interact with the audience and be more common with their idiolect. They're trying to allow them, the text is trying to speak how our generation speaks now, so it's more up to date, more interesting for us, and overall that really enhances that this magazine is written probably by a younger generation, so it's interacting with us more, making it more personal. So when we read it, we feel that they know what they're talking about because we trust them more if they speak our language. We feel that this magazine will be more interesting and more fun to read instead of boring and informative. So overall, that slang and those specific lexis that they've used really complements the magazine in a positive aspect. Finally, the font size and colour. Now, the font size, obviously the article title will be more enlarged. However, it's very upright, so it kind of shows a bit of formality, but it's very enlarged in structures on top of each other, so it doesn't go over to the main image. So that also doesn't distract the audience from the main image. And it's very large. Some certain words, such as the beginning of words such as Adele and Triumph, they've used capital letters at the beginning of those words to enhance the meaning a bit more. Also, during the title, the word triumph, if you research it on Google, it means that they have overcome something, they have done something really positive. So it kind of gives that inspirational talk that makes you think, oh, Adele's done something really good, and it enhances the title a bit more, because if I said, oh, Adele did something good, it would just seem a bit plain and boring and vague. It wouldn't really get to the point, it wouldn't really attract me. So the fact that they have said triumph, it's quite a very powerful word. So it really enhances the fact that Adele's done something amazing. What has she done? It doesn't tell you what she's done, and that makes you want to read the text because you don't know what she's done, and the word triumph enhances the meaning a bit more. They've also kept with the colour scheme because they've gone with the black and white theme, and all the text is presented in black, so it's enhanced over the grey background. It stands out and it's very clear to the audience to read it, as well as the title being in bold writing to again prove to the audience that that's the title and not part of the text. And during the text there was very complex sentences. They use words such as and, or, commas, and it just really shows how informative the text is. Even though it's a paragraph, it's not just factual where there's simple sentences and minor sentences. It's very informative because it explains and expands its answers and what it's presenting a bit more, which once again, the Lexis used, the larger font, the word triumph, the fact that they're trying to really attract the audience by certain Lexis, all represents that they are trying to attract certain audience members, such as the younger generation, because as I've said before, the younger generation is the main readers when it comes to music magazines. The drop cap is in its normal position when it comes to a double page spread. It's also presented in black, keeping with the colour scheme and the whole style of the double page spread. However, they have used a drop cap in the letter I, which is actually covering 10 lines, showing that they're trying to enhance the meaning and try and attract the audience to that text. This makes the text a bit more creative and really just presents the speech or presents the text in a more positive and exciting format. It's not boring. It does, the I really just makes the text look a bit more interesting. However, they have used I, but before they have put the letter I, they have put speech marks. This shows to the audience straight away that they are opening the text up with speech that Adele has made. It's a more personal reference that she has made, and it makes you think, what has she said? It makes it more personal and more intriguing to the audience because it's something personal. It's something she has said. I know I'm repeating myself, but the fact that they have opened the text with speech marks show that something has happened. She's trying to tell something to the world, and it just, instead of saying Adele said or this happened and this happened and this happened, it's making the opening more reliable. You're able to trust this information because it has come from Adele herself. It's not just a rumour. You find now that magazines are filled with rumours. They are literally, you don't know whether to trust it or whether someone has made it up or whether they have just heard it or whether it's real. You don't know. Although you trust it, you're not positive. So by putting speech marks really emphasises that it's real, it's reality, this is happening, and that's what makes the magazine more reliable, because they will be able to then trust the other sources and the other stories during this magazine. So it really represents the magazine in a positive way. Also, once again, the normality of the magazine is using a subtitle. Now in this magazine, the subtitle reads Women Who Rock 2012. So not only is this representing Adele in a positive way, because she's saying she is participating, she is one of these women that represent the UK, represent anyone, represent the women are singing in a really positive way, and she has rocked 2012. She has really came out and really presented herself well in 2012, and that is why she's so well known. And once again, it's presented, it's presented in capital letters, so it's more enhanced, and it's black, and it's a smaller font from the title, so this also shows that it's not part of the title, and it's just more informative. It just informs a bit more about the main image. However, above it is a box. Now it's a black box that, to me, and to other people that I have shown, has no relevance whatsoever. There is no relevance to this black box. It's very unconventional, really. There's no purpose, there's no meaning, there's no relevance to it. And some may argue that it attracts attention, it allows attention to be emphasized to that little bit of subheading, that little bit of information. But at the end of the day, why it's there, what it's called, I have no idea. No one else knows, but it's just there. However, but going back to the subheading, it's a very important aspect as it presents this article as a whole, instead of like Adele, but presents this article saying that they are stating and they are telling a story about one of the women that have rocked 2012 music generations. And once again, it really presents this double page spread in a more positive aspect. So even though there's no relevance to the box whatsoever, the capital letters really enhance the meaning of this, and it's just another good aspect to have when making a double page spread. Obviously, the second main attraction in this double page spread is the main article, the article title. Sorry. So, as I said before, the Triumph and Adele is all capitalised at the beginning of the letters. Adele has to be because it's a proper noun. So, because it's a name, it has to be capitalised. But the and Triumph doesn't have to. But the fact that it is adds more effect, adds more interest, and indulges you a bit more because it really stands out over the of, which, as you can tell, isn't capitalised. Shows that it's not as important. Also, they have used alliteration due to the ta. It's the Triumph, it's T's at the beginning of the sentence to make this type of rhythm and contrast between the two wordings. It just makes the title a bit more interesting. Also, like I've said before, it's structured next to the image so it doesn't distract you from it, but it also is a main attraction. It's emphasised in large font and therefore will attract you over the title and the subheading. And it's also structured quite weirdly. Normally you get a title that is just straight, it's just going along the line saying the Triumph of Adele just in a straight line. However, they structure this one on top of the other to make it more creative, to make, you could say, makes it a bit more informal, but just about adds a bit more emphasis to the main image and to the title, because it's not the normalities, it's going against the normalities, making it its own magazine, making it its own title, and it's just so much more creative and imaginative than just having the boring title going along the cross. So personally, if I'm making a magazine, I would like to use this effect because they have linked the L with the P, so during Triumph the P goes down but the L in Adele overlaps it, showing that Adele is more important than the word Triumph. They're really advertising their celebrity more by pushing it in front of some of the other titled Lexis. So that also again enhances the fact that Adele is the main feature, is the main advertisement. They're really trying to enhance her and to attract the audience members. So overall, the Lexis used Triumph, as I said, gives a more positive aspect to the whole title. They've made serif font, so it's very informal, but at the same time it stands out, it's very enhanced, and it suits the structure and the empty space that it requires to fill, so the page is much more interesting. Also, during this magazine they include a byline. Now the byline in this magazine states, "The voice, the passion and making of 21, inside the biggest pop music story of our time, by David Brown." Now, straight away they have used commas, they have used ellipsis, they have used speech marks, and it's a sense of a complex sentence. However, it just represents the article a bit more. So you've got the voice. Straight away is iconic to the genre, is iconic to the magazine. It's a music magazine. It's the voice. It's showing something, shows that someone's voice is important and needs to be heard. The fact that they have said the voice really just shows that it needs to be heard. It's someone's voice that needs to be heard. It could be a voice of a singing, could be the voice of David Brown, oh, it could be the voice of Adele. It needs to be heard. So by them stating in that section, the voice to begin with, really enhances that something needs to be heard and it's quite urgent. And then you've got the passion and the making of 21. Now, passion is a very inspirational word. It kind of shows that a bit of love. It shows that they're dedicated to this. So the fact that they're saying the passion shows that they're maybe Adele is putting so much, she absolutely loves singing and she's putting her passion into it, she can't get over it, it's her life. So this kind of enhances her a bit more in a positive aspect. It really represents the whole double page spreads in a more positive way because of the selected lexes they've used, and it also links in with triumph. So you could say that the byline links in with the article title because triumph and passion are quite positive words. It means they've done something good. It means something good in their life is happening. So the contrast between the positive lexes is really good feedback for the audience to read. And then she says the making of 21. Now I personally don't understand what it means. I think 21 maybe would be one of her music, or it could be an album coming out. It might be a name of a song, I don't really know, but at the end of the day it kind of shows that fans of Adele will know. So it represents to the audience more that it's for the fans of Adele, because they will know what that specific meaning means. And it says inside the biggest pop music story of our time. So inside is obviously showing inside the magazine, narrowing that down, saying, okay, inside this magazine Rolling Stone has the biggest pop music story of our lifetime. So it's the biggest pop music, it's the biggest song, she's the biggest artist, and it intrigues you more. It thinks, wow, I'm reading an article about Adele, I'm reading about the biggest pop star of our time. So it really once again represents her in a positive aspect, but it represents a magazine showing that they are advertising one of the best musicians, which will attract the audience more, because us as a society want to be up to date, we want to be in the trend, which is why in magazines you get fashion, because you want to be up to date, you want to be in the trend, you want to know the latest gossip of the celebrities and like relationships. At the end of the day, them stating that Adele is one of the biggest stories of our time, is one of the biggest pop band, this is one of the biggest stories, showing that you're reading one of the best. It enhances how big this magazine is and how everyone reads it, so you feel a bit more involved with society. And finally, they have stated who has wrote this piece. It just gives you that bit more information. It's not really important to state David Brown, but they have just shown that an average person has wrote this. It informs the reader a bit more, which is its purpose, and overall they didn't need to put it, but they have, and it just gives a bit more recognition to this person that has wrote, the producer that has wrote this magazine, double page spread. Finally, we have branding. Now, branding is a very key aspect when it comes to a magazine, and branding shows the sponsors that they have, and it just really represents the magazine positively. If they don't really need a lot of companies to support them, it kind of shows that it's a really popular magazine that it can depend on themselves. But at the end of the day, if you have branding such as BBC, which you do get on certain magazines, kind of just represents it a bit more and shows that it's a good magazine because high companies such as BBC has presented this magazine. However, this magazine is branding that I can see on this double page spread only as the Rolling Stones. As I've mentioned before, the fact that they have mentioned this name during the information, they've presented it in capital letters, states their branding company and represents them in a positive way, enhances their branding a bit more. However, they've also put at the bottom 36/Rolling Stones / and then gives their webmail address. Instead of just stating the page number like some magazines do, they just put page 36, page 5, page 7. They've actually included their branding in it. So not only does this show what this double page spread magazine this belongs to, but it's just informing the reader a bit more that they're trying to present their magazine really positively by enhancing their name in the text and mention it in the page numbers, so people don't forget that this magazine is Rolling Stones, is important, that is the brand. You need to remember this magazine, and just presents the magazine double page spreads in a more positive aspect because they're not ashamed to put their name on there. So you could say it's presented in informal text due to the fact that both stages it's presented in capital letters, but it's more enhanced, and it just represents their magazine very positively, and it just states their branding more visibly, really. So at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with stating branding. You should state a branding, especially your own magazine.